Hi everyone, welcome back for day 2 of our article on journalism. I'm Kat.
I'm Nikki.
And we've been talking about ways to be a good journalist.
Yeah. Some tips for you to be a journalist.
Yeah, I feel like they were mostly focused on interviewing. Yeah, so what is one thing you should do if you want to interview somebody?
You should write down your questions in advance.
That's right. So don't wait until the last minute, scribble them on a notepad. Maybe when you have a lot of experience you can do that, but not until then.
And other than that, you can also record.
You should also record. Yeah, because if the person wants to say like, I didn't say that, you're making me into a liar and I'm going to sue you.
And you'll be like, wait a second.
Here's what you said on my phone. It's not altered, it's your words. Yeah. So, and also, of course, do your research. Like, you want to know the person's background, you want to know their opinions. Don't go in, like, knowing nothing about them. That's very important. So, today we're going to see an example of somebody who is acting as a journalist at his school. Which, your school might have a school newspaper, and maybe you have people who write up reports for the newspaper about school events or student things, like if students did something really cool outside of school. Did your school have that?
I think we did, but no one actually ever reads it.
Oh, that's too bad. My school had that and my university had that. And I think my university's newspaper, a lot of people actually did read. Because there were free copies everywhere. You just pick one up and sit down and read it. Anyway, so let's go take a look at Jason Chen, who is our intrepid reporter for today.
Reading!
A student journalist interviews the school's principal. Jason Chen is a reporter for his school newspaper.
Hi, Principal Huang.
Research the best person to answer the questions you want to know.
Thanks for sitting down for an interview. My first question is about the big dance party on May 21st. We have exams the week after the dance. Do you think it's a good idea to have a party when we should be studying?
Think of your questions in terms of 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, why, where, when, and how. Well, I think it's still reasonable. We're only talking about one night for the party, and there's still a lot of time left to study.
Why not have the dance party after exams?
Be ready to ask follow-up questions during the interview. School will be over after exams. Most of the students will head out for vacations with their families.
Last year, the annual dance was canceled because there wasn't enough money. What changed this year?
Write questions that require the person you interview to give more than a yes or no answer. These are called open-ended questions. Last year, we improved our sports field and built new bleachers. That was costly. This year, we don't have extra expenses to worry about.
Some students think the bathrooms need to be renovated. Isn't that more important than a dance party?
We'll fix the bathrooms next year, and we still might have enough money for a party too.
Thanks for your time.
All right, as I said, this reporter is Jason Chen, and he is a reporter for his school newspaper. So he's going to interview Principal Huang today. What he says first is, "Hi, Principal Huang." So yes, he's just talking to Principal Huang. And this is our first point of the day. It's better to research who's the best person to answer the questions you want to know. So I wonder what he's going to ask him. But first, we should probably find out what is a principal. A principal is the head of a school, especially in elementary, junior high, or high school. This person is in charge of things like running the school's day-to-day routine things, like staff meetings, student discipline, which means, if students get in trouble, the principal will take care of it. They also keep the school running. They're also in charge of what the students are going to learn and what activities they'll be allowed to have. So clubs, dances, stuff like that. Here's an example. The school principal asks students to come to him to get their school club ideas approved. So if students have any ideas for a school club, they should go talk to the principal.
那文章一开始呢，他就说有一个学生 Jason Chen， 他是学校校刊的记者，他今天呢要来访问他们的校长。那校长就是 principal， 名词是一个名词 ，is the person in charge of a school。那它还有另外一个意思呢，是形容词，意思是最重要的 ，the things and the most important thing。
I actually think universities don't have principals, right? They have presidents.
Oh, yeah.
Presidents or deans. Deans are in charge of individual colleges. Anyway, so Jason is sitting down with the principal. He says, "Thanks for sitting down for an interview." And when he says sit down for or to or with somebody, when you say you're sitting down with somebody, that means you're basically inviting them to have a seat with you so you guys can have a talk. Yeah, it's about having a talk. Like you're going to have a long talk, so you're going to sit down.
那 sit down 这边其实它比较字面上的意思是我们一般说的坐下来嘛。那在这边呢，它是意思是说比较严肃的坐下来交谈。
All right, so they're about to have a conversation, an interview. Jason says, "My first question is about the big dance party on May 21st.
What about it?
那
他的第一个问题呢，就是说有关在5月21学校的舞会。
Party, yay! Dance party, yay! But Jason says, we have exams the week after the dance.
然后 Jason 就说，在舞会之后，学校有考试。
Sounds like he's not pleased. He says, "Do you think it's a good idea to have a party when we should be studying?" What do you think, Principal Huang? No, I'm just kidding. You'll answer later. But here's a good tip as well. So he's asking, do you think, this is a yes or no question, but he's also asking like when we should be studying. So think of your questions in terms of those WH words and that H word. Who, what, why, when, where, and how. So this is his question, his first question, kind of a pressuring question. And what he says is in terms of, which means in relation to something.
所以接着 Jason 呢，他就继续问说，你觉得这样是一个好主意吗？就是我们要在念书的时候办一个舞会的这件事情，你觉得好吗
？Well, Principal Huang says, well, I think it's still reasonable. I think he's probably taken aback by that question.
It's like, whoa.
Well, I think it's still reasonable. So when he says it's reasonable, what does he mean? When Jason asks, or when Principal Huang says that this is reasonable, he's using an adjective that means to say something within reason. It's fair, it makes sense, it's still fine. It's still okay to have a dance party. It's not unreasonable, which would mean something is too much or it's unfair for students because they have to study. And it's not as though it's something they shouldn't be doing. When you say something is reasonable, that means like it's okay for you to have this or to ask this. Especially you often use this word with request, a reasonable request. It means asking somebody to do something, but it's not a big ask. It's just, it's an okay request. So for example, asking me to help with your homework is a reasonable request, but asking me to do it for you is not.
那校长呢，就说他觉得这个是 reasonable 的。reasonable 是形容词，意思是合理的、有理由的 ，fair and sensible。那它的相反，不合理的呢，就是 unreasonable。
So do you think it's unreasonable for them to have a dance?
Not really.
No, not really. It's only, like the principal says, he explains himself here, we're only talking about one night for the party, and there's still a lot of time left to study.
Yeah. 那校长呢，他就说，其实我们也只有花1个晚上的时间在办这个舞会，对于考试来说呢，应该还是有很多时间可以念的。There's still a lot of time left. 意思就是还剩下很多时间的意思。
And Jason asks, why not have the dance party after exams? So maybe he doesn't say it like that. I'm just making that up. But this is an example of a follow-up question. A follow-up question is the question that you ask to follow up on the answer from a different question that you had. So maybe your interviewee will give an answer you don't expect. You need to remember, if there's something interesting in there, you can pull it out and you can ask more questions about it. That's a follow-up question.
所以他之后就接着说，那为什么不把舞会排在考试之后呢？
And the principal says, school will be over after exams. Most of the students will head out for vacations with their families. That's true. They will probably head out. You wouldn't really want to take part in a school activity when school is over. So when they head out, this means they're leaving school and maybe leaving town. They'll go somewhere and they don't have any intention of coming back until the new school year starts. They're not going to come back for a dance. So head out means to start a trip away from here, away from school.
因为学校呢在考完试之后就放假了，那大部分的学生都会和家人出发一起去旅行。Head out 在这边指的是出发、前往的意思，有一点像是另一个片语 leave for。
It's often common at parties when somebody's going to leave, they'll say like, all right, I'm gonna head out, bye, and they just go. Yeah, so he's saying like, well, of course they're not gonna come to a dance if school is over. But Jason can't leave it alone. Jason says last year the annual dance was canceled because there wasn't enough money. What changed this year? Man, he's really grilling him. So yeah, he says that last year there was no dance because there was no money for it. Yeah. So this is another good tip. You should write questions that require the person to give more than a yes or no answer. So we have a what question. You can't answer yes or no to a what question. These are called open-ended questions.
那在这边呢，又继续他就讲到了去年的年度舞会。Annual 指的是年度的 something that happens once a year.
So last year the dance was canceled. That sounds unfortunate. But why? Well, the principal says, last year we improved our sports field and built new bleachers. Oh, so they had other things that they had to spend money on. So what they're talking about here is a sports field. Field is a noun that you might have heard as like a work field, like the field of science. But it's not a work field this time, it's a literal field. It's a flat stretch of ground that has grass on it. In this case, it's for playing sports. Now, fields can be natural, flat, grassy places, or they can be man-made for things like farming or for playing sports games on. A soccer field is different than a baseball field. They'll have different sizes, different lines drawn on them, but a sport that doesn't use a field is basketball. It uses a court because it has...
There's no grass.
Yeah, there's no grass. It's usually inside. If it's not inside, it's going to have some like asphalt like you'd see on the street. It's hard ground. Now, here's an example for field. The teams walked onto the field and waited for the game to begin.
校长说，去年我们 improve 改善了这个运动场 sports field，而且呢还盖了新的看台。那 field 在这边只是名词，指的是运动场，通常是有草坪的那种运动场，像是学校的操场啊等等的。那 field 还有另一个意思呢，指的是某个领域或者是范围。For example, the field of science or the field of medicine.
So it sounds like they had a good reason for canceling the dance last year, and that was they had to do their sports field, they had to do their bleachers. That's a lot. And by the way, bleachers are the seats next to a field where they go up like this. Yeah, so people can sit on them and watch sports games. And of course, all of that must cost a lot of money, and that's what the principal says. That was costly. Costly here is an adverb. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, it's an adjective. I got tricked because it has ly at the end. Costly means cost a lot of money, time, or effort. In other words, it was expensive. In fact, costly usually implies the cost was too high and it hurt the person who paid it. So when you say somebody made a costly mistake, it's a mistake that cost somebody something. Maybe it cost them their friendship or cost them an opportunity. The principal is talking here about money and time, though, most likely. So here's an example sentence. All these improvements to the house will be costly. Are you sure you want to do them?
Costly 是形容词，它其实指的就是昂贵的 expensive。Cost 本来呢是一个动词，意思就是花费，那它变成形容词后面再加一个 ly 就变成很贵的、很花钱的意思。
So it's cost a lot, and that's why they can't afford a dance. Now, what is happening this year? Well, the principal says, this year we don't have extra expenses to worry about. Yay! So expense here relates to cost. An expense is something that costs money or something that you will need to spend money on. Usually people talk about their daily expenses or their monthly expenses. They might include food, rent, your house bills, transport to go from place to place, and buying necessary things. You might also add fun things to your expenses, but those are not needed. But expenses can also apply to businesses, schools, anything that needs to spend money will have expenses. Here's an example sentence. After she calculated all her expenses for the month, Haley realized she was spending too much money on clothes.
I think I did that too.
Oh, really? I usually don't. I think it's usually food for me.
Yeah. Expense 是名词，在这边指的是花费或者是开销 the use of money. 那在这边课文里面呢，就是在说今年学校并没有多余的开销需要担心，所以他们才有钱来办这个舞会。
All right, so now they don't have that expense this year, so maybe they'll be able to hold the dance. But Jason doesn't want to have a dance party, apparently. He is being a stick in the mud, which is what we call somebody who doesn't like to have fun. Now, he says some students think the bathrooms need to be renovated. Isn't that more important than a dance party?
Bathrooms. 那有些学生呢认为，因为Jason 就说，有些学生认为学校的厕所应该要被 renovated.
You got it.
翻修，那 renovated 是动词，意思是修复或者是整修 to repair or improve something.
Repair and improve something.
Oh, to repair and improve something.
Yes.
Yeah. 通常呢指的是一个建筑物或者是房子之类的。
So renovation, that means you are not only fixing things, but you're also making them better. So you often see this on like HGTV, you know, the home, like, what is it, the home channel? Like where you see people going into old houses and they're fixing the houses. And that's actually our next vocab word, but we're not going to get there yet. So the principal says, we'll fix the bathrooms next year. And we still might have enough money for a party too. So what he's saying is like, Jason, you need to cool it. You need to stop discounting this party. So what he says is they're going to fix the bathrooms next year. Now, fix is a verb that is similar to renovate, but it's more broad. Fix might just mean something doesn't work and you make it so it does work again. You repair it. Renovate also means make something better. Fix can be make something better, or it could just mean make something like it was before. If you learn how to fix things, it's an important skill to have. You should learn how to fix your car or your house or things like that. Now here's an example. Dad's car broke down on the road, so he took it to a shop to get it fixed.
那我们校长他就说，我们明年会修理那些厕所。Fix 是动词，在这边指的是修理 to repair something。那它还有另一个意思呢，是安排或者是确定时间地点。For example, we should fix a time for our next meeting.
We should fix up a meal or something like that. You could say fix up a meal if you want to make dinner, for example. Now, the article has Jason at the end going, okay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
That's all he says. So I think Jason maybe isn't that happy about the dance happening.
But the principal did give a lot of reasonable explanation.
That's true, and I think that other students will be happy to have a dance. You know, you need to have fun when you're at school too. You can't just study all the time. You will get stressed out and you will not have a life. So yeah, have some fun too. Don't forget to have fun.
Yeah,
all
Jason.
Right. Yeah, Jason. Have fun. If there's a student named Jason watching this, I think he must be so embarrassed right now. We're sorry, other Jasons. Okay. That's all we've got for our article on being a journalist and what kind of questions you should ask as a journalist. Now that we've done all that, let's go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
All right, our For You chat question today is an interesting one for all of you who are in school. Of course, you probably are in school if you are watching this. It is, what types of events or activities would you ask your principal about in an interview? And I'm going to ask you.
So I think when I was in high school, I went to a private high school.
Oh.
So we didn't have much like fun going on.
Really?
Yeah,
Aw.
we just study a lot.
That's too bad. So
maybe
were there any clubs?
Yeah, we did, but they were all canceled because of like we have exams and stuff. So if I had the chance to interview the principal, I would ask him why. Why didn't we have any of those?
I wonder what he would say. What do you think he would say?
He would say, because you guys have to prepare for college, for university.
Yeah, but in university you get to have fun, don't you?
Yeah, but
I don't know. I guess maybe some schools think that the only thing that matters is studying and that's it. When really, kids should be kids. Yeah, that's what I think.
Kids should be dancing.
Yeah, kids should be having fun. And I know that my high school had multiple dances and we had football game events. So we had lots of opportunities for fun and clubs and things like that and school sports. Yeah, but if I was going to ask my high school principal about something, I really can't think of it. I really don't know. Oh, because I was in the music program in high school. So maybe I will ask him, hey, can we get some new facilities for the music program because our current ones are kind of bad. Like we don't have enough room. People are having to crowd their instruments into like little tiny cabinets and sometimes they break. And yeah, so I would ask them for better stuff for the music department. Yeah. That's what I would ask about. Anyway, that's all the time we have. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
A student journalist interviews the school's principal. Jason Chen is a reporter for his school newspaper.
Hi, Principal Huang.
Research the best person to answer the questions you want to know.
Thanks for sitting down for an interview. My first question is about the big dance party on May 21st. We have exams the week after the dance. Do you think it's a good idea to have a party when we should be studying?
Think of your questions in terms of 5 W's and 1 H. Who, what, why, where, when, and how. Well, I think it's still reasonable. We're only talking about one night for the party, and there's still a lot of time left to study.
Why not have the dance party after exams?
Be ready to ask follow-up questions during the interview. School will be over after exams. Most of the students will head out for vacations with their families.
Last year, the annual dance was canceled because there wasn't enough money. What changed this year?
Write questions that require the person you interview to give more than a yes or no answer. These are called open-ended questions. Last year, we improved our sports field and built new bleachers. That was costly. This year, we don't have extra expenses to worry about.
Some students think the bathrooms need to be renovated. Isn't that more important than a dance party?
We'll fix the bathrooms next year, and we still might have enough money for a party too.
Thanks for your time.
Vocabulary Review.
Principal. If a student breaks a window at school, they will be sent to the principal for punishment. Reasonable. When I was at the night market, I asked for a more reasonable price for the shirt, so I got a discount. Field. The soccer field behind the school looks brand new, so I can't wait to play there. Costly. Traveling to Europe is costly because food and hotel rooms there are expensive. Expense. Our shopping expenses this year were high, so we will have to cut back on traveling. Fix. Our TV was broken until our neighbor came over To fix it.
智慧小补帖
Annual. Bleachers. Renovate.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net